If a person robs you on land, they are a thief. But if they rob you at sea, they're a pirate. Let's say it's 2007, and you're the captain of a cargo ship traveling off the coast of the Horn of Africa. You're transporting wheat from Kenya to Saudi Arabia. When you look out at the ocean and you see these guys, they come at you quickly, just a small speedboat of them, and soon they're right up against the side of your ship. They're about to throw a ladder to climb up. You run into the ship's citadel or safe room and you call the Coast Guard. Or maybe you try to spray them with this water hose to scare them away. But it's too late. They've now climbed on board. They're rounding up the crew. They're going to hold you hostage and demand a ransom of millions of dollars for anyone who will pay. The shipping company, your home government, your family, doesn't matter. And if you don't give them the money, you'll be held in captivity, starving, maybe even tortured, for days, weeks, months, even years.
If there's no answer to payment of the ransom within 3 days, then the kidnappers here will sell me to Al-Shabaab.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's roundtable sections, and I'm Rou Ying, your moderator, and today we are diving into something that affects the international trade, food costs, and even the item you buy at your local supermarkets. So yes, I'm talking about the piracy, not the Jack Sparrow kinds, but the real maritime piracy. We will be discussing the article titled Assessments of the Global Shipping Risk Caused by the Maritime Piracy. So let me to introduce our panelists. So say hi everyone.
Hi, I'm Jia Tian. I look into the shipping data, risk assessment, and occasionally get too excited about the graph.
Hi there, my name is Yong Kian Hok. So I work for a shipping company, the kind that actually sell on the ship, not just talk about it.
Hello, my name is Jia Tian. I specialize in maritime safety, which basically means I try to stop the pirates before they say ahoy.
Hi, I'm Grainne from UN Maritime Division. I'm here to remind everyone we are all in the same ocean, and what happened in one part of it can affect all of us.
Okay, Jia Tian, let's break this article down.
Alright, I'll try my best. This article looks at how the piracy will affect the global shipping. It focuses on the high-risk areas such as the Gulf of Guinea and also the Malacca Straits, which is very close to our home. And it used the past pirate attack data and create the risk maps to show which shipping routes are most dangerous. And surprise, surprise, the risk is still high, even though the people think that the piracy is a thing of the past.
Any suggestion from the author?
Yeah, they talk about using the armed security guard, better route planning, and more collaboration between the countries. They even said that using the satellite tracking can help them to monitor the piracy hotspot.
Only if pirates don't switch off their trackers, which, trust me, they often do.
So they are not just sailing around with the pirates inside the site? That's no fun. Let's talk about what we think the article got right. Kian Hok, do you want to go first?
Sure. One thing that I definitely agree with is the cost of piracy. It is real. In our company, we have to reroute the ship just to avoid the dangerous zone. That means the longer trip, more fuel needed, and sometimes will lead to late delivery.
Oh, so that's why my online orders are always late.
Exactly. According to the report by the BIMCO, the piracy costs over $1.9 billion globally, including the fuel, the training, and also the insurance. And in 2023 alone, the ICCINB reported over 120 piracy incidents worldwide. That's a 50% increase from the previous year. This proves that the threat is not going away, it is just evolving.
The article was also spot on visible security. Strict safeguards or warning signs tend to be left alone. Pirates go for easy targets.
I agree that international cooperation really works in East Africa. Joint patrol actually reduced piracy by more than 70% within 5 years. That shows how powerful working together at sea can be.
And the data helps too. Having the historical trends allows the company to plan a safer and also the less risky routes.
So we are saying the pirates hate the guards, teamwork, and maths. So it seems we agree that the article captured the big picture well, but maybe we can go a bit deeper. Can we share more real-world examples that support the report finding?
Sure. Let's take the Gulf of China for example. The report says that West Africa is one of the highest risk areas, and that was true. In the year 2020 alone, over 95% of the global crew kidnapping was happened there. So one tanker hijacking cost millions, and not just in ransom, but also in delay and also higher insurance costs. That's exactly the kind of the economic impact that the report wants to.
Yes, those insurance costs are huge. I read that shipping companies sometimes have to pay up to 30% more for vessels crossing high-risk zones. For smaller operators, that's almost unbearable. So the data in the article isn't just abstract the numbers, it translates into real financial pressure on businesses.
And government feel it too. Coastal states like Nigeria rely heavily on port fees and maritime trade. So, piracy directly threatens national revenue. That's why regional cooperation initiatives like the Hyundai Code of Conduct are important. And again, the article is correct to highlight international collaboration as a key factor.
Exactly, and don't forget about the psychological effect. Seafarers are already under stress for a long voyage. When the piracy is added, those experienced crew members don't even want to sail in those waters. That creates a labor shortage, which then increases the cost further. The report's risk assessment is spot on in connecting the piracy with the wider global shipping challenges.
Yeah, those are the great points, and so it looks like the article maps of the risk zones and the hotspot data, and the links to trade disruptions actually lines up with what we see in the real world. That gives us a good base to move on and talk about some of the critiques. Did anything stand out to you as a strange or unexpected?
I think the article is too optimistic about the technology. It says that the satellite tracking can fix everything, but the pirates adapt very fast.
Exactly. I've seen pirates use small boats with no trackers, or they hijack with other ships. Railing only on that is dangerous.
I think the article doesn't talk enough about the people side of things, like how we can work with local communities. In Nigeria, these are programs that train former pirates to work as security guard, and talks actually help reduce attack. This kind of grassroots effort shows that when people are given better job options, they are less likely to turn to piracy. It's not only about stopping pirate boats, it's also about giving people a reason not to choose that path in the first place.
And let's not forget, not every country will allow the guards on the ship. For example, in Indonesia, you can't just hire an armed guard and sail in. The legal systems are complex.
Okay, so you are saying guns are not always the answer.
Definitely not. Sometimes education and parenting go further than bullets.
Another big issue the article misses is climate change. Things like rising sea level, more frequent storms, or fish shortages can make life harder for coastal communities. When traditional fishing no longer works, some people feel like they have no choice but to turn to illegal activities, including piracy. For example, during the El Nino drought in Indonesia, fish stock collapsed and some local communities started smuggling or attacking ships just to survive. So it's not only about poverty, it's about trying to surviving in a changing environment.
And don't forget, when there's political instability or civil conflict in coastal nations like private fights, just look at Somalia. It wasn't just economic hardships. It was the collapse of government institutions. The article doesn't explore these root causes enough. It talks about data and attacks, but it doesn't go upstream. It doesn't ask, why do pirates emerge in the first place?
Right. If we only see pirates as criminal on boards, then we are ignoring the bigger system that pushes people into that lifestyle. If we don't fix that system, piracy is just going to show up again somewhere else or in a new form.
So what we are saying is, fighting piracy is not just about the security, patrols or technology. It is about understanding the people, politics and the planets too. That's the bigger picture we think the article could have to explore more deeply. Let's wrap with these solutions. What can the company or the government actually do?
First, invest in the smarter technology, not just tracking, but use the AI to predict risk. But remember, AI works best when combining with the human insights. The local captains and fishermen often sense danger before the machines do.
2. Build the trust with local. They know the water better than anyone.
3. Train navies and coast guards. Give them the tools to protect ships, not just talk about it in reports.
Okay, so that's a solid list. The smarter tech, local voice, and the global teamwork. So to conclude our panel discussions, the article provides a comprehensive overview of the maritime piracy from the 2006 to the 2021s, covering the patterns, severity, and the key hotspots like the Gulf of the Guinea, Gulf of the Aden, and the Southeast Asia. Next.
We agree its strong use of the data analysis tools like emotion analysis and hybrid clustering to predict the risk. This offers a new way to understand threats beyond just counting the incidents.
But we felt the article relied too much on technology and didn't focus enough on community-based solutions. It means how working with local and investing in education can actually reduce piracy in the long run.
We also believe the article should have explored the human side more, such as why individuals turn to piracy due to the poverty and also the weak law enforcement.
In the short, while we appreciate article innovations and insights, more inclusive and the localized approach are needed to improve the global maritime safety. So to the sums, we are agree the piracy is still a threat, and while this article gave us a strong foundation.
Still, the article reminds us that shipping is global and the risks are global too. If we don't work together, the next news story won't be about a late delivery only. It could be about a ship crew being taken hostage.
And the costs affect all of us, whether the container ship or we buy the bubble tea online.
So thank you to all our magazine panelists and thank to you for watching. So don't forget, the sea connect us all. So the reference used are listed in the CTR Harvard style below, and see you next time.